a survivor, I'm not gonna give up, I'm not gonna stop, I'm gonna work harder. I'm a survivor, I'm gonna make it. I'm a survivor, keep on surviving.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Undead Survivor. I know it's been a whole complete year since I have posted anything on my channel. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into a depth with it. I just thought right around that time I should just take a gap year off of YouTube. But so much has changed. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait, Undead, you're not in your room anymore. This is a whole new area. That is right, because your boy Undead Survivor has officially moved on his own and got himself a swank-ass apartment. I am planning on remodeling. This is going to be my office to where I will be talking and discussing about all my weapons that I built, or I'll be doing some live streams in here, but it's just, this is a start. To start that new fresh start, I wanted to make a video that was simple enough, trying to get me back to my old roots of making YouTube videos, because a lot has changed. It's not like that when I was gone, I wasn't working on YouTube videos. I have actually been working on a couple projects. I have been working on Undead Survivor Part 3. I actually got almost like 20 minutes of video capture. We're planning on going beyond more than maybe 30, possibly 50 minutes, hopefully. The story's good. Just bear with me. But I have worked on a weapon build, which will be sometime uploaded. I am currently working on it. I have made Daryl's Damascus Hilltop knife from seasons 7 to 8, and this blade looks beautiful. This will be going up for auction, so stay tuned for that. I will be making a secondary one showing you guys how to make this, but this was just the first attempt, and I'd say it's actually pretty damn good. Out of all that stuff, I am going to be working on something much simple for the fans, and that is I will be making Daryl Dixon's Season 2 homemade crossbow bolts out of a dowel rod, real turkey feathers, thread, and you can actually attach a field point tip to the end of this thing. Or you can use broadheads if you like. I definitely thought this was a good start to get back to YouTube. Especially, it's a really easy project to do. Something I have noticed about the bolts that we use in the show is that they're not actually crossbow bolts. Those are actual real arrows for like a longbow, medieval cosplay, stuff like that. They probably just shorten it down, made into their own version. And you can see on the end of these bolts that they're actually arrows due to the knock on the end of it. It's just a slit and it's made for actual longbows. I hate to say it, but that will not work if you actually attempt to do something like that. That's gonna split the bolt. It could break during mid-fire, could damage your bow, fling back and hit you in the face. We do not want that. That's why I did a little modification to this thing. As you can see, there is a nail right here, which I'll show you how to do. It's gonna help prevent, and I have not tested this out. That's probably gonna be on the next video, and that is a huge surprise. This is definitely a good start. Enough talking, let's get to the build. Alright guys, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find the straightest end of our dowel. Now this is very important because we don't want a curved dowel because it will go off our accuracy when we shoot it off our bow. Now this is just a reminder, not every dowel rod is going to be the perfect straight end. Once you have found your straight end, get your measuring tape to 2.5 inches and mark it down. I decided that we're going to go off 22 inches because that is the longest bolt that you can get. The bolts are much longer than a common crossbow bolt that usually uses in the show, so we wanted to be a much longer. Now this part here can be really tricky because it's all about getting it dead center, plus we're supposed to make a lot of room for our insert. If you have a Dremel, I'd say it's probably the best tool to use. Start off by making a small incision right in the end and then work your way around. Now this part of the build can be really tricky, so in my opinion I would get some old dowel rods and then start practicing on the end of them. This component here is going to help you insert any field point tip or any broadhead that you would like to use. You can also use the component to help you move around the dowel so that way you can make enough room to make sure it fits snug and tight. Now this is just me, but for the adhesive, I always like to use E6000. I think it's one of the strongest glues that you can get at any local hardware store or any craft store. This is definitely unbreakable stuff. I use the same stuff on my Punisher vest that I've done in previous video, and I'd say it works perfect. Now the reason why I wanted to go was by 22.5 inches is that way we can make our knock on the end. This could take some practice too, so if you do have some old dowel rods, I would do a little bit of practice. I started off by making a small incision right at dead center, and then I put it towards an angle to where it actually curves like an end of an actual knock of any bow or a crossbow. Now the end of your knock does not have to be perfect. We'll be adding a little technique that I taught myself, and the reason why I added that is because I have heard rumors where people have made homemade crossbow bolts. Every time when it would fire, the bolt would split during the fire or mid-air. It can cause some serious injuries and it can cause some serious damage to your crossbow. We'll be going back to drawing a small hole at the end of the knock so that way our nail can be placed in there. Now this little hack I came up with, I took one simple nail, I cut the end of it, and then I took some pliers to bend the top ends. So that way it can fit snug right in the end of our knock, glue it down, and that way it'll rest easily to our string. Take our glue, fill up that hole so that way our nail does not come off when it fires. Now this next part is very, very important when you're making your homemade bolt. You don't want to just go by a simple wooden dowel. You want to shave it down as smooth and as thin as possible so that way this does not damage your quiver when you place it on there. I basically used everything that I had to help shave it down: file, sanding block, Dremel, and a pocket knife. Now I recommend to shave it down as thin as possible so it really doesn't damage your quiver. I would just take it off and on and see if it fits perfect. And also, you want to make sure that it's also lined up with the end of our insert. And I'd say that this is probably the messiest part of the job. We are going to be making our homemade fletchings out of real turkey feathers and craft feathers that you can usually get at a local craft store. If possible, be very, very careful with how you're cutting your feather because you can possibly use both ends of the feather for your fletching. Now this gets very messy because you're going to want to take a knife and you'll just want to shave it down a bit. Shave it as thin as possible so that way it can fit perfectly smooth onto the shaft of the crossbow bolt. I do recommend that you get yourself some heavy duty gloves so that way you don't accidentally cut yourself while shaving it down. Once you get it smooth like this, it is now time to take our scissors and cut our fletching into shape. Now the measurements of the fletching does not matter. I can't get a good accurate size of what I could tell you, but what I can tell you is that if you follow each step perfectly, you can get accurate from the show. I went ahead and took some super glue and glued the fletchings down. You're going to want to leave a little excess of the stem of the feather so that way we can wrap our thread around it to help give it support. Most archers who do this technique would usually wrap it around all the way from the feather, but in the show his is much different, and I think that was the only thing that they changed from actual homemade wooden arrows from, I guess, their way of homemade crossbow bolts. You want to loop the thread 3 times around towards the knock and both ends of the fletchings where the stems are. Now we can take our field point tip and we can screw it into our insert on the end, and you're officially done making Daryl Dixon Season 2 homemade crossbow bolts.
Stay off the main roads. The bigger the road, the more walkers, the more assholes like this one. I got them.
So that is it, guys. That is how you make Daryl Dixon's homemade crossbow bolts from Season 2. Now, there is a reason why I made these instead. You guys might be wondering, God, Undead, why are you still making Daryl Dixon stuff? You're correct, which is why I'm planning on doing different stuff in the future this year. So there might be a couple more, and I've actually got a problem with that. So seriously, something I've actually noticed is that Daryl uses all weapons. Like, he literally finds all sorts of weapons and he just makes them look cool. He makes the flail look cool, RPG look cool, he even makes a pipe look cool. I mean, come on. I can understand why people are tired of looking at Daryl Dixon stuff. I am wanting to focus on other projects besides Daryl Dixon. Definitely Glenn, Negan, Morgan, Rick, and a couple of my own little design weapons. And eventually I will be planning on remodeling everything in here. This is just a temporary setback. Just trying to find my vibe. Planning on putting some of my builds up on the wall here, like all the past stuff, have it displayed. In this corner, get my hockey masks that you, the fans, made for me over the past. See the masks right there. So next video is definitely gonna be insane. I just need to figure out when would be the perfect time to do that. It has been cold here. Had that really bad storm a couple of weeks ago, right around the holidays, and my God, is it freezing. Hopefully next week it gets much warmer and I have a place where we can do this. My brother is my cameraman, so we're planning on doing some really cool testing with this crossbow bolt. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me make these crossbow bolts. And I do apologize for the long wait of not making videos. There's been so much that happened in my life, but I am back and hopefully we can do more projects like this. If you have any questions, you know where to comment, and if you guys are interested in buying my merch, I still have my merch store. I still have all my old stuff. I am planning on designing some new stuff in the future. Thank you very much for watching Undead Survivor. I hope you guys like this video. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Undead out.
I'm a survivor.